Hello, and welcome to the Lucid Us podcast, where we explore everything because everything is connected to everything else. And I believe we're everything as well as nothing, and far more than we can imagine. So today is an impromptu recording. I'm sitting outside, so you may hear the birds. Maybe you can even feel the beautiful vibration of the sunshine. And you may hear cars, whatnot. I want to share a phrase that's been coming up for me the last, I would say, couple of weeks, but very strongly in the last 4 or 5 days. And I'm going to take us back to, a couple thousand years ago, a little bit more than that. I won't get the dates correct, I can't remember, but it was the Oracles of Delphi. You can look that up. And there were 3 inscriptions outside of that beautiful temple, the Oracles of Delphi. And there's some debate about actually how many inscriptions were there in the stone, but for sure there were 3. The first one, many know, which is a religious tenet for many religions. And that is know thyself. Know thyself. And when I first learned about the Oracles of Delphi and did a lot of digging and searching, that became a huge tenet in my life and really a compass point for me. Just really know thyself, know thyself. I believe that journey is never done. So although I'm going to move on to the second tenet, inscribed out in the stone on the outside of the temple, the Oracles of Delphi. Know thyself is still a primary tenet, but I'm definitely being called to the second one. The second inscription is nothing in excess. Nothing in excess. And I would say that has felt like a huge lesson my whole life that I've understood from a fairly young age, which was just that I used to think they were contradictory traits. I used to think I had a very dualistic nature. I remember there was a time in my 20s where I literally felt like yin and yang. It was like I was just white and black. I couldn't find any gray areas in me, just these polar opposites and a lot of duality. I've since come to sort of make peace with that, and I don't see myself that way anymore. I see myself with some very strong traits, and that when they are balanced, there is an incredible power in that balancing of them. And when they're imbalanced, there's obviously not. Things are off kilter. Okay, so nothing in excess. So when this has been coming up for me again lately, and I did a bunch of reading about it recently, and some people's interpretations of what it meant and why it would be inscribed outside the Oracles of Delphi, and I appreciated all of those. But I'm continuing the search. There feels like there's more for me than what the way others have interpreted it. So I'm now going to make a huge leap to Wimbledon 2024. Now, my relationship with tennis is just none. I don't love it, hate it, whatever. It just is never, no part of it hasn't been a part of my life. I've maybe played 10 games of tennis, and maybe I've watched 2 matches on TV in my entire life. But recently, as I've been working out in the mornings in the gym, Wimbledon's been on. And there's often sports or all kinds of stuff on the TVs, and I never watch. It doesn't interest me. I'm always listening to podcasts or, music, whatever. But for whatever reason, I have been for a week now just the Wimbledon is on, and I am watching every move. And I don't mean every swing set, whatever. I'm talking every move the players make. I'm watching the way they respond to a call, the way they respond to the crowd, the way they connect or don't connect with their coaches, with the other players. So how does this tie in with nothing in excess? So what I'm starting to see is, and I'm also trying to read, feel, read and feel the energy of the moment and how their response or reaction affects the energy. And we all know that in any kind of, in life in general, but specifically in sports, energy can suddenly swing. The whole tide can change in an instant. And so I'm fascinated about those moments. How can you change the tide in your favor? Or when it's in your favor, how do you keep the tide in your favor? What are the things that we do that disconnect us from the energy that we're striving for? And I believe the key lies in nothing in excess. So when you're riding a wave, let's say you're riding a wave, you just stay balanced on the surfboard, right? Riding a wave. When you're riding an energetic wave, just stay balanced. Obviously, if you're riding an energetic wave you don't want to be on, then it's a good idea to become imbalanced, get off that wave, find a new one. So this is what I've seen as I've just carefully been watching these players. There tends to be a moment where they become imbalanced, meaning suddenly one of them will be hyper-focused on their coach. No problem focusing on your coach, but focusing too much, that doesn't work. Or there'll come a moment where one of them is too focused on a good call or a bad call. And again, the calls matter, but they don't bring you out of balance. You just go, hey, that call wasn't good, moving on, or that call was good, moving on. I've seen when players allow their energy to be pulled into the other person's game, and I think this is a huge lesson for me. I recently watched a match, a couple of women, and one of them was playing just an absolutely incredible game, and the other one was playing a great game. But this one was having an incredible game. And the one that was having a great game, I thought, if she just can still play her great game, there's no saying how this could end. But because the other one was having such an incredible game, the other person got flustered and started just, anyway, it went poorly. It went downhill so fast. We've all seen that. Where someone is suddenly so focused on another person that what they should be doing no longer is happening. Okay, so then I happened to watch a match today, a couple of gentlemen, and same thing, where it started out and one player was playing the most phenomenal game. I mean, literally, he just had ace serve after ace serve after ace serve after ace serve, and this went on for sets and sets, and the other gentleman found himself 2 games down. So yeah, and literally I was watching him so intently. I literally interrupted my whole workout and just sat and watched the game because I knew it was so important for me to learn. And I thought, okay, what do you do when someone else in life, you're confronted with someone else in life who is playing phenomenally, and you need to engage with this person and they are doing their thing so well. And the other player, there were moments where one of the announcers used this word, and I thought that's a pretty good word. The other player remained bemused, meaning he was somewhat I can't really do a whole lot with this. I mean, this person is serving 133 mile per hour serves at me. I can't even get my racket on him. But he continued to play a great game. This other player continued to play a great game, like when it was his serve. I mean, so he was playing a great game, and he was just staying sort of, I would say, mentally neutral. He was just kind of bemused about it, like, wow, I am playing a great game and I'm losing because this other person over here is literally just playing out of this world. But he never really got caught up in the fact that the other player was playing incredibly. He just kept doing his very good game. And he won in 5 sets. I mean, he fought, but he didn't fight. It was such an interesting, I don't want to use the word fight because at no point did he fight. He did never fight the other person. He didn't fight the calls. He didn't spend his time staring up at his coach saying what should I do? It was he could see, Okay, I would say this, what really attracted me to this player was he had incredible clarity. He could see that he was playing a great game. Like, I am playing a great game. Not only am I playing a great game, I'm probably playing my best game. I am playing a great game. I'm playing my best game. He could also see that the other person was playing an incredible game. Okay, so this player had incredible clarity. And seeing that and knowing that he was in control of his part and doing his best, he just continued. And so there was never a fight in so much as I've got to beat this other. I don't know how to describe it. It was more about, I'm going to keep doing my game. Even when he was down on points, he just was able to maintain his balance. Nothing in excess. He went all out on the first serve, and sometimes he'd get an ace. And then on the second serve, he served a solid serve, got it in, and then went on with the game. I mean, there was just such a balanced approach to every moment. When the other player would get an incredible, another. I think he had like the other player had like 18 aces, or maybe he was in the 20s by the end of the whole match, and it was just incredible. So nothing in excess. And I feel like that's what this player taught me was, and it wasn't even like slow and steady wins the race. This isn't the turtle and the rabbit, the hare story. It's not that either. I mean, he was fierce in his, and proactive in everything he was doing. I mean, he was constantly pushing himself to do his best, but in a balanced way. So I really want that for myself. Oh, and this was the other message I got was this, rarely does a player come back and win in 5 sets when they're down 2 games. And that's true in every sport, in anything. When you're down and kind of on the line, it's like you sort of hold yourself, but you're not able to fully come back. And he did, which is just so beautiful and remarkable. The other thing was he had never beaten a top 5 tennis player. So this was the first time. And there were all of these firsts tied up into this. And I kept thinking, and for a moment I was like, oh, he's just got to get over that hump or get over that line. And something in me said, there's no line. There's no hump. It's a wave. Ride the wave. He's just riding the wave. And I freaking loved that moment. And I keep thinking when they say, well, it would be his first time doing this and his first time doing that. And we often think that first time when you have that moment of success or glory or achievement or whatever that is, it's like we've suddenly reached a point. And again, that's such linear line thinking. So I've been telling myself the last few days, just ride the wave. And when you cross over from one place you've never been to a place that when you've crossed from a place you've been to a place you've never been, you keep riding the wave. It's not like you suddenly stop at the new place. It's a wave, it's motion. So today is me, and that's why I just grabbed my phone and sat down outside to record this, because I wanted to capture this moment. I think it's very powerful to share in this moment and not have me try to come back and capture it. But that to ride the wave and to ride the wave is nothing in excess. It's constant small adjustments, right? A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And you look at surfers, surfers do this, but I would say we all do it because energy is waves and we're all riding energy all day, every day. It becomes more apparent when you watch sports, when you watch someone trying to achieve something in their life. So the tenet I'm really working on right now, nothing in excess. Nothing in excess means balance. And balance means finding that wave that you want to ride and staying on it, staying on it by responding as needed, So I've just had so much freaking fun watching these tennis players. I just want to say I'm sad that I've missed so many years of Wimbledon, but I don't know, maybe it won't be the same ever again. You know how you find yourself in this magical moment where it feels like the universe has brought you the thing that's going to show you what you need to see in a way that you can understand it like viscerally. Like I literally have had physical reactions. I could feel my body reacting and responding to what does it feel like to remain on my wave, doing my great best awesomeness. As someone else, I might meet someone else, who's like wave is bigger and more awesome looking or whatever, but I am not being concerned about that, but just, oh yes, look, your wave is very big. And this is my wave, and this is the one I'm riding. I'm going to ride it, in a great way. So, yeah, I'm just loving this clear reflection of ways that we often become imbalanced. And this is just coming to me now. Here's the interesting thing. The players who lost their balance always lost it because they focused on something outside of themselves. 100%. 100%. They lost their balance when they focused on what was happening outside of themselves. And the ones that maintained their balance maintained the inner balance, kept focusing inside. And you could, I know this because you could see they weren't concerned with, the call happened and they moved on. They weren't concerned with their coach. They weren't concerned with the call. They weren't concerned with the other player. Like they were just this beautiful, like inward focus, me, racket, ball, court, me, racket, ball, court, again and again and again, me, racket, ball, court, me, racket, ball, court, right? They didn't put, they didn't sort of, I was going to say put their energy, literally take their energy and put it outside on something else, somewhere else. I do that so much. I do that in my worry. When I worry about things, I do that. Probably that's my biggest one. I worry way too much about other people and other things that really I have no business even thinking about. Because if I did, I would be there, and that's just a big message for me right now in my family. There's some things that are coming up and I don't feel called to participate in the way that I quote should. And that is draining me. So I can't even blame anybody but me. I just need to trust that I know where to put my energies, put them there, ride the wave, And when it's time for me to engage in a different way, then I'll know. So, isn't that interesting? I just want to point out, because I see it now, and this is the clarity that is so important. I was riding my wave, and I was doing fine, and then I thought about my family and how I believe they think I'm not showing up the way I should, right? I don't really know what they think. I believe they think I'm not, and then suddenly I'm not on my wave. I just put all my energy into something else. I'm imbalanced. So it'll be interesting for me to find my way back to the wave that I feel called to ride it the bestest I can, and trust that wave will take me where I need to go. And when it is time to intersect with my family, I will. So that's that, and just wanted to share it. If you get a chance to, and this would be my offering to you in this is, look at the ways you have excess in your life. And excess, I would say excess of thoughts, certain thoughts. You might think certain thoughts too many times a day. And excess in any of it, right? Like nothing in excess. So you don't need to tell yourself 10,000 times a day how great you are. At that point, it's probably not helping, whatever it was, right? So it's even just nothing in excess. And so there's thoughts, nothing in excess. There's also emotions. Like, what emotions do you pay your attention to? What emotions do you allow your mind to play with. So look at the excess of certain emotions in your life. Look at the excess of certain actions in your life, whether that be what you're eating, sleeping, exercising, relationships, nothing in excess, which I love that it doesn't, which it completely removes sin and good and bad. It just says nothing in excess, right? So if you never have a treat, maybe have a treat. If you eat nothing but treats, maybe try to, sneak in something non-treat-ish. So nothing in excess. And then look around in your life at how nature balances herself constantly, finding balance. How people that you admire balance themselves, especially when they're put into difficult situations. I mean, it's easy to look at someone who's kind of just got, everything is going well, and they're like, yeah, I'm balanced. And you're like, that is awesome. It's really easy to be balanced. I mean, you see players, you see competitive players do it all the time. When they're winning, they're balanced. There was one gentleman I watched, and at the beginning, I've never seen this person before, and at the beginning I thought he celebrates too much. That was just kind of the intuitive hit I got. I mean, every time he won a point, it was like, I don't know, just this big ferocious rah, rah, rah. And then of course, and he looked great. I mean, he was just like, yeah, like I got this, lots of fun attitude and all that stuff. And I just thought, I don't think that's gonna work. And again, I don't know why, and I'm not always right, but I'm just, so I'll just tell you the story. And then as the set goes on, he's suddenly not doing well, and he's losing, and things are bad. And it's like the coin flipped, and suddenly it was so down, and almost just beat himself to try to get back up. So that's what I'm saying again, like nothing in excess, like nothing. Just look at everything in your life and go, if there's a lot of that, what would bring it to balance? Doesn't matter what that is, right? Just that, and look at the people in your life who behave that way, and who behave in a balanced way when they're in a difficult situation, and difficult for them, right? Like, you don't need to judge what's difficult or not difficult, but when they are in a situation that is challenging for them and they remain balanced, what are they doing? What are they doing with their mind? What are they doing with the strong emotions? There are going to be strong emotions. What are they doing with their actions? How are they responding versus reacting? So really looking at yourself, nothing in excess, looking to others for some guidance and insight and wisdom in this. And maybe one day we'll get to the third tenet. It's a pretty cool one. I think it's actually the slipperiest one. And maybe that's why they put it third, because you might need to have the other two mastered before you can take it on. I think it's actually the hardest one. I'm laughing because I had not thought of this. But I think they were in this order not because of hierarchy, like know thyself was better and nothing in excess was like the second most important thing. I literally think it was in order. I think it was the first thing you need to do is know thyself. And then you have a chance at handling nothing in excess, because you know yourself well enough to know where you have excess or imbalance in your life. And then when you have those two, you can look at the third one. I think that's just so brilliant the way I just saw it, and I actually think it's true. And no one has ever said that. In all of the things I've read, they all say that they're listed in their order of importance, but I do not think so. I think the Oracles of Delphi were far more clever, because of course they answered in riddles, for goodness sake. They were far more clever and wise. I think they listed them in the order that they need to be done. So I'll tell you the third one, just to tease you. I won't quite, and the third one has been has been described, has been interpreted in so many different ways, and nobody really agrees on it. So I'm going to tell you the version I think is closest to the truth. And it is surety brings ruin. Meaning when you're sure about something, it will bring about your ruin, your downfall. And if you don't believe me, just look at life. Life is nothing but dichotomy, duality. Like it's coins. If you can't hold one side of the coin, don't pick it up, because there's going to be the other side, right? Always. We live in this world where nothing is sure, nothing is certain. So surety brings ruin. But I don't think you should tackle that until you know yourself and you have a sense of balance. And then you can start looking at the things that you're so sure of. Because the opposite is definitely true. Yeah. All right, that's enough for today. And I hope you all have a beautiful day. This was way longer than I thought it would be. I was like, I'm just going to do this quick 10-minute little podcast. So enjoy. I love you all. Bye-bye.